To present this presentation on climate resilience for the ultra poor. So I am proud to introduce Lisa, founder of Healthy Bear, which has a table right over here. Woo! See a big fan club in the back. Giving some shout out. And Johanna, the founder of Opportunity International, is that correct? A philanthropic organization. They're going to speak about climate resilience for the ultra poor. Let's give them a hand and your attention. Such an important topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hi. My name is Lisa Matar, and I am the founder of Health Bear Food Company. I decided to make a vegan breakfast without added sugar, with plant-based protein, and to be able to have a convenient plant-based breakfast was just something that was not available. I went plant-based a number of years ago and found that breakfast was such a challenge, and one of the main reasons that it was a challenge was the sugar. I mean, sugar is everywhere. It is causing inflammation. It feeds cancer. It's very bad for you. So I wanted to make a product that was convenient, that was sugar-free, and we thought, well, hey, while we're at it, why don't we just go ahead and add some superfoods in there, and why don't we make sure that it has extra fiber? So I came up with this amazing plant-based breakfast product that is growing. I started this whole idea when I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 2 young children, and when I went plant-based, it was a problem like I just described. But then I thought, there's other people out there just like me that want to have a healthy breakfast without all of these additives or without worthless sugar. So my journey began, and I started by making recipes in my kitchen in my own home. And then the months went by. I had a collection of 6 different recipes that I loved very much. So I thought, I'm going to get out there and make some packaging. So I hired a graphic designer. I made packaging for the product and logged on to have a commercial kitchen space. So it was just following each step by step. Went on to hire a food scientist, and that was a very pivotal moment for me when I had Rachel Zemzer with A La Carte Connections help me with my product, and she helped turn my recipes into real formulas. So once I got onto having my product very much readily available, we moved on to put it on Amazon, which was a very challenging marketplace. If any of you have been trying to do business on Amazon, it's very difficult, it's very expensive, and but it's the most ultimate test market. You get everyone's very honest opinion, whether you want to hear it without the sugar on top or not. Like, they tell you the damn truth. And so I had my 6 flavors, and quickly realized which ones were popular and which ones were not as popular, and then moved forward, narrowing it down to 2, and adding in original, an unflavored version of the product, and then hired a broker. And then once I had my food broker, I was able to get into the grocery business, which is another uphill climb, but at least I was armed with 2 tried and true flavors, and I had 1 original. I was told over and over again, you need to have an unflavored version. So I went to the market with my 3 flavors, and now I'm in grocery stores throughout California. I'm in about 100 stores now, and I found another broker in Manhattan, which is my home away from home, just based on my heart, not any reality. One day I'll be able to live in Manhattan. And so I'm in about 80 bodegas there in New York City. So my journey is on its way. It's a slow bus, but we're making our way, and my dreams are coming true. And part of my dream is my vision statement. And this is a big deal to me. My vision statement is to make the world a more sustainable and equitable planet for all living things through plant-based food. And one thing, growing up I was born in 1977, my mom would say, Lisa, you can be anything you want to be. And that's the message I received as a young person. You can be anything you want to be, and you can do anything you want to do. And I didn't have any reason to believe otherwise. Little did I realize, like she was told, you could be a teacher, or you could be a nurse, or you could be a stay-at-home mom. And then my grandmother's generation, what was her option? You can work in a bank or be a maid? I don't know what her options were. But look at all these generations go by, and we're able to, just having the belief, I can be anything I want to be, and I go make that happen. That's innate in me. I believe that, and I make that happen. Like, that's not an option for me to fail. It's not an option for me to not pursue my dreams. Well, other people in the world don't have that, even though we're all living in the year 2023. I mean, there are pockets of the world that don't have the same belief system. So that ticks me off. So don't get me started. If I see that out there, I'm going to want to do something about it. So my vision statement of making the world a more sustainable and equitable planet for all living things through plant-based food, I love my vision statement because it takes me places where I want to be. I want to go get in front and make things right where they're wrong. And one of the things that's wrong is obviously the environment of global warming and the destruction of the planet. That makes me mad. And that's another reason why just having a plant-based protein or a plant-based product for a food product is paving the future of having less global, negatively impacted global products out there in the world. So if less people are eating eggs and bacon for breakfast and more people are eating really awesome oatmeal, I'm making the world a more sustainable and equitable planet for all living things through plant-based food. There we go. My journey leads me to standing up for injustices, for anything that has to do with global impact of the environment. I love my work that I'm able to get on that grocery store bandwagon, get going on the grocery, and make my dreams come true so I can make it to the Upper East Side one day. But in the meantime, I get to help people around me. So one way I've done that is by partnering with my very dear friend, Johanna Mahal, and she works at Opportunity International, and this is a big deal because the ultra poor people out there in the world are very disproportionately affected by global warming, and they're not able to sustain their regular lifestyle that was built upon from generation to generation, meaning, hey, if this crop could grow one year, like 20 years ago, and it's not growing today, that's negatively impacting them, and it's not their fault that the world is boiling over, and that makes me mad. So when I get mad, I do something about it. So that's why I partnered up with Opportunity International, because they have the means and the organization to make an impact on changing the ability for people to function in their dysfunctional society and their dysfunctional climate. It's not fair. So as a business owner, I'm able to raise funds through the name of my work. I have events where it's like a lunch. I'll say, hey, it's $100, come to the lunch. It's all donated money, and then we do corporate match. I'm able to give as much as I can to support the female farmers in sub-Saharan Africa. That's really where I'm asking my funds to go. And Opportunity International has been a really transformative and beautiful operation to help people make it right. So I'm trying to make it right, and I team up with Johanna to do that. And I want to pass it over to Johanna Mahal, my dear friend, who's going to talk about climate resilience, and how the ultra poor manage the changing climate and the environment. And I'd like to inspire all of you to see what you can do. I mean, I'm just one little person with a crazy dream. You can have your crazy dreams. Get your crazy dreams out of your pocket and put it out on the table and do something. If something is wrong and you don't like what's happening, then you do something about it. And that's what I do, and I encourage you to do it as well, because I sleep like a baby every night. I know I'm doing something right. Here's Johanna. She's going to talk to you about her work with Opportunity International. Thank you.
I love you.
I love you.
Oh, I now understand why we're such good friends. She's just so joyous and so fun to watch in action. So thank you so much for having me here today, Lisa. And I wanted to make a correction. I'm not the founder of Opportunity International. Opportunity International has been around for 52 years. We're an NGO, a nonprofit organization that was founded here in the United States, and we have 6 branches actually across the world. That would be in the UK, Canada, Australia, Hong Kong, and Germany, and then US is our largest branch. So we are a global operation. We focus on the poverty alleviation. We have a very simple mission that is to eradicate extreme poverty in our lifetime. Very simple, cut and dry. It is not an easy mission. It is one that we've been trying to find solutions for years. The UN has proudly and boldly proclaimed that they are still sticking to their 2030 proclamation that we will eradicate extreme poverty. That's 7 years from now, and we've got a lot of work to do if that's going to happen. So while Lisa says very modestly, I'm just one person, I'm going to use the quote, we are a drop individually, but collectively, we are an ocean. And so every drop becomes part of an ocean of change. And so it does really require every single one of us to make a contribution and work in one way or another to help this very big problem. So why am I here today? So Lisa and I met as friends, and she was developing her company, and I was fundraising for nonprofit schools in the Bay Area. And then I found myself moving into this nonprofit, into this philanthropy position. And prior to that, my husband and I actually were donors to the organization, and so I just got very involved in it. And Lisa and I were sitting there one day as she was talking about her mission, and I was saying to Lisa, I'm like, that mission's so aligned with what I'm doing too. And she really realized that, first of all, collectively, we can do something, and most of the poverty that you find in the world today is in rural areas. So it's about farmers. It's about farmers in developing countries that are living on less than $1.90 a day. And that on less than $1.90 a day working, not working, and not able to feed their families, not able to send their kids to school, not able to have adequate shelter. And that's why the generational poverty cycle continues. So Lisa felt very strongly about moving some of her money into this cause. And we've partnered up, we've spoken at lots of different events together. And we actually have a dear friend of ours who is an organic farmer, a female farmer, fourth generation female farmer in Santa Cruz, who's also partnered with us. And together the trio, we speak about why it's important and what we're doing and why it's important. So today, here are the problems that are facing farmers. They don't have enough money to create organic farming. They don't have enough money to do regenerative farming. So what they do is they plant the same thing over and over. They use toxic fertilizers because it's cheaper and because their main goal is to feed their family. And it becomes a cycle of destruction. And so really it takes bravery and it takes dollars. It takes funding from both the private sector and the government sectors to come in together and say, if we're going to change this, we have to provide different options for the farmers that live in these regions. And that's what Opportunity does. We come in, we partner with different organizations, we help teach better farming practices, we create, run pilot programs for drip irrigation, we address the issues of too much water or not enough water. We address the issues of not stripping the land, of planting consciously within a community, and that everybody shouldn't be planting the same thing, and that where the trees are planted and where the livestock should go, and the community working together. And guess what? We found the most success with women in doing this, believe it or not. That's what Yes, so while the tide is changing in Africa, this is the area that really needed the most addressing because it was very male-dominated in the farming industry. And we have provided the funds and training that women are becoming part of the family farm business in Africa. As a result, they're gathering together in savings groups. They save their money together, they loan their money to one another, they train together. One who's successful goes on to train the whole village, and then you have this ripple effect of success. They take care and cover each other's loans. They send each other's children to school. They feed one another. So when we have found is that when we bring our women together in areas like Malawi, the Congo, Kenya, Nigeria, Tanzania, some of the poorest places in the world, Uganda, in agricultural communities with female savings groups and training, that we see remarkable change. We see change not just generationally, we see change within 2 years in a village. And the next generation is in such a better position because of that. So that's a little bit about what we do. We're definitely focused on some of the bigger problems. We were always focused on eradicating poverty, but now we realize that if we can't take care of the earth in the process of doing that, we're all going to be in a big trouble. So Opportunities really has directed a lot of its private and government funding that we get into creating climate resilient pilot programs in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, and we're really proud of the work we could do. I'm happy to talk about it with you one-on-one, or if you want to answer any questions. But
we should ask some questions.
yeah, if you'd like to ask questions, I'd rather answer them than talk to you. So
Yeah, and just women supporting women is so important. So the world is a small place, and the farther we get along with technology, we're all connected. So we are able to really get in there and help these female farmers in Africa make a difference and change the course of their future. So I'd love to have you guys ask us any questions you have, whether it's about my business as a female founder of a food company, or if it's to Johanna regarding her Opportunity International work. Do you have a question? What's your question?
Sorry. The regenerative agriculture that you do, that's all plant-based, correct? It's not animal-based, because that doesn't work.
Okay. The question is, do they do agriculture with animals or without?
the regen agriculture that we're doing in some areas have livestock, and putting the right plants and the right animals on the land to create natural fertilizer versus artificial fertilizer.
Two questions. One, how long between the time that you created your product and you got it into, you said 100 stores here, 80 stores on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And my other question was for Johanna, if I'm understanding you correctly, I haven't looked at your website yet, but you're helping women become farmers, and it's more communal. It's having good outcomes. What sort of things are you doing to, one, I suppose, integrate culturally the male, to the female, and then that's really my main question.
Yeah. So for me, I started my company when it was around 2019, and that was when I was forming ideas, and I was playing in the kitchen, and I thought, this could be a very simple business to do, right? And you think, it's so easy. So I started thinking about it. I started playing with that in 2019, and then by right before the pandemic, it was February, it was ski week, and it was right before the wheels fell off the planet, and I was about to go into Amazon, and so I spent my time on Amazon. That was about another year, and that's a really tough nut to crack. I don't recommend it unless you just got endless pockets of money. It's very difficult, but I look at the glass half full. That's how I'm operating. It was the best test market I could ask for. So I was able to develop my plant-based product with Amazon as an assistant to me. And then it's been about a year and a half since I hired a grocery broker in California, in Northern and Southern California. It's been a year and a half. And my next production run will be certified organic. And that has been, I've been told, and I believe that's going to open a lot more doors for some more finicky grocers that they only will sell organic. So we're going to just pray on that Whole Foods and Sprouts agrees. And then I think the next question for Johanna is really exciting, because how do these cultural differences work with the male-female thing? How does that work?
It's really interesting. And actually, to answer it, I can't answer it and say we have one answer. It really is region to region, and in 33 different countries. Even within those 33 countries, it's region to region. Many areas that we work, we find females are alone, like they're abandoned, they're single, they are the head of the household. The grandmother is the head of the household, and she is the main farmer, the main leader, excuse me, in a village. However, there are other areas too where it's always been male-based. It's always been the male in the family who's the farmer. And in those regions, we actually come in and there's a desire for change because they're desperate. They want to have multiple income streams, and they see that they want to increase their yields and have more income. And so we really approach it as family as a farming business, and it becomes part of a training. There's actually a training manual that goes through the scripts of like husband and wife dynamic, or male-female dynamic, or mother to son dynamic, and how they teaching a family to work together, that working together versus isolating one another really can change the trajectory also for a family. So there's a lot of training and support that goes on, and it's not a fast snap your fingers like overnight, but we have found, we've been in some of those regions now for over 12 years, and we see marked difference than it was 12 years ago, with women and men working together in a family where there's male and female, and often females that are leading, are the lead or the head of household. So.
Any other questions? We'd love to have your question. Who has a question? Who has a question? Yes, we have a question right here. Put it really close to your mouth.
So it sounds like a lot of the farmers that you're supporting, that you have been with them for more than 12 years, you mentioned. So that means that you're investing in these farmers. How do you invest in new farmers, and who decides which farms you invest?
I know one thing I've learned along the way is that they have the female farmers get out there, and they are the liaisons. They're representing themselves as success stories. But I'll let Johanna elaborate.
Yeah, we're actually the backup team. We're not the leads. And what we have found within a community, you find usually the strongest, most respectable person in the community. You teach them how to be successful, and the rest want to follow suit because they see the fruits of the labor, and then we actually employ them. They become the teachers and the mentors, and so that's that ripple effect that I was talking about. So it really is about programming. Our job is to really listen to our clients. We call them clients because we need to serve them, and needs change. Their needs were very different pre-COVID. COVID hit, we had to stop, track everything, and figure out what are your needs today. And now coming out of COVID, unfortunately at the same time, I'll use Malawi as an example. The head of our agricultural program is headquartered in Malawi. He lives in Malawi. And he was saying they have not had in their lifetime the cataclysmic storms that they've had to deal with. Flooding that has taken away people's livelihoods overnight. So really this is the next gen of what we are looking at. The next big hurdle, the next big challenge is not even so much about funding and getting money into helping crops be better, but how do we build climate resilience strategies for these farmers who have little to nothing? How do we help them insure their crops, so that if they lose their crop, their children don't have to drop out of school, or that they go hungry? So this is, it's problematic, and while we don't claim to be trying to change climate change makers, we are trying to build climate resilience in these areas of rural poverty.
And really quickly, as a business owner and someone that gets really ticked off when something's not fair, that's not fair. They don't have their air conditioning on too long. They're not the ones that have their nasty, giant car that's polluted. I mean, that's not fair. And that's when I
Sorry.
don't want. I know.
It's also not fair. They're not the ones eating a big steak every night or eating a chicken every day. That, that's, I learned in Malawi that like having a chicken to eat is like that's once a year. That's Christmas dinner once a year.
And our American culture is so backwards with this, and they're destroying the planet, and it's just not fair. So as a business owner, that's where I go. That's where my vision statement to make the world more sustainable, more equitable for all living things with plant-based food, that's where I show up, and that's why I partner with Opportunity.
I was going to say, it sounds like with the model that you have, it's worked for 12 years, that maybe your organization could contact the economic minister in these countries and do a presentation. They'd love that, right? And like show, because you're involved with culture change, and that'd be amazing. Yeah. And also came to mind, I would love if the products made their way to the United States, if they have more than just sustainable farming, if there were actually and maybe tied in with like 100 stores in the Bay Area, it'd be really great.
Did you talk about sustainable farming in the Bay Area? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second part of your Bay Area question.
I was more interested in the like maybe your experiences with the economic minister in these countries. If you gave them a presentation, if they were receptive to that, I would think they would be. Yeah, cool.
Opportunity International only works in countries where we are directly connected with the government. So we work hand in hand. And also the private philanthropy dollars. This is something I learned. I didn't know this until I worked for a nonprofit. But when private donors in the United States make donations to a company like ours, the U.S. government tracks that. They look at it, and they actually push in with U.S. aid, tax dollar monies to help. So my job in the Bay Area is to fundraise from private donors, like people like you that are sitting here and listening to us. The U.S. government grants money to us too for different projects, and that comes in, and so it's really nice. I was very astounded to see like, oh, that's a really nice thing. I'm glad my taxpayer dollars are going to things like this that are very important. So we do work. The next generation, I could talk about this all day too. The next big thing in agriculture in areas of poverty is bringing artificial intelligence. And we're on the cutting edge of that, our company. We have a whole Silicon Valley advisory team that volunteers their time. We work with the big companies in AI right now, and our first pilot project just took off, is happening as we speak, in which the whole a book that's like 700 pages of agricultural information for Malawian farmers has been put into AI format, and farmers there can ask questions immediately, like, why are my leaves turning brown on my plant? What happens if we go 2 weeks without water? Is this going to hurt my plants, my crops? So these type of questions AI is answering for them that they used to never have access to. And it's remarkable, again, in building resilience and having success in agriculture.
Cool. Since you mentioned AI, I'm working with AI as well. And two things. One, I find that people who, I'll say, depend on AI in these programs, they really love a narrative. So we are using, in my work, we use a narrative with people who are rural, and we hook them in with just basic sort of relationship. People are very good with relationships in provincial areas, more so than in cities even. And the other thing we found that is we want to make it so they're not dependent on the technology, on the AI, so that because that's like a crutch and it can hinder their development. But that's the two things I found. So it's exciting what you're doing.
It is exciting. Thank you. Any other questions out there? Anything you'd like to add, Johanna?
No, I'm just going to do a little plug for my friend Lisa here, who's one of the hardest people I know. So if you have not tried her organic, high protein, low sugar, vegan, plant-based oatmeal, it's right over there, Health Bear Foods. So go try that and take some home. You will find her product now all over the Bay Area, and she is a big supporter of everything that is right and just in this world. So if we can support her business, I would like to do so today. And I really thank her and Health Bear and all the other cause marketing, small companies around America and private people who just really know that you can walk away and just say, I can't do anything, I can't change it, but a dollar makes a difference. $2 makes a difference. So if you have a chance to do it, help us out. We're definitely making some changes, and you can find more information. I've got handouts here, or look me up on opportunity.org. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
That's how you do it. There we go. Well done.